Hello, everybody. Good evening. Another edition of the Poetry of Painting live show here on Facebook. I'm Fiona Hooper and welcome to this show. Please feel free to make some comments, ask questions, whatever you like. That'd be great to have some involvement. Lovely to see you on here, whether you're watching live or on replay. So this evening, it's actually a recorded interview with Skylar J. Wynter and Neshka Turner. Skylar is an Australian poet who's been on the show several times, does wonderful poetry, lovely girl. And Neshka is the girl who's done the artwork for Skylar's latest book. Just on that point, my new book is now really nearing publication, scheduled for November 13th. So keep an eye out for posts about that. So I shall now... Nearing publication. Sorry, I'm just being interrupted to my left here. I shall now start the interview and let you listen to Skylar and Neshka having a chat with me. Oh, hi there. Hi, Skylar. Hi, Neshka. How are you?
Good, thank you.
Very good, thanks.
Good. And hello to Neshka's art as well, which we have on screen for everybody to see. Such beautiful work. So, Skylar, would you, welcome first of all to the UK. And I know it's not your first time here, but welcome back. It's great to have you over here and to have the chance to actually meet you in person as well, which is really exciting. I'm so looking forward to that. So would you like to tell us a little bit about why you're here?
So we're over here on our Decent Beings tour, which is for our book, and we're doing a range of workshops as well, finding the joy, or a time for joy. We're still messing around with the title of the workshops, but yeah, so, and we're just traveling around performing and meeting up with all the people that we've met online in the last couple of years in all the Zoom poetry events and all that kind of thing. So
yeah, and I believe you've got rather a packed itinerary, flying all over the place as well, doing shows and things. So
yep, we do. So yeah, we start off in Aberdeen. That's on the, I've got a little list here. So Aberdeen on the 3rd, Monday the 3rd of October is our first gig at the Blue Lamp. And then from there we head to Manchester, Stockport. Then we're going to Derry in Northern Ireland, and then we're down to Hertfordshire, and then we're all over. Like we're going to Wales and Birmingham and I can never say it.
Worcestershire.
Yeah, Leeds. Are we going to York?
Not going to York.
Not going to York.
No.
Leeds, Liverpool, London,
Petersburg.
Yep.
Paris.
Yep.
Wow. Goodness. Wow, that is brilliant. So do put the links on after the show. Hopefully people might have already seen them on one of my other posts. I've asked you to put the links on as well, but do carry on and put them on after this post goes out as well, so that people can see, you know, what you've still got that they can maybe hopefully attend. So that'd be brilliant. So tell us a little bit more about the book, because I'm so excited. I just can't wait to see it and get my hands on a copy.
So the book, so this is our first collaborative project. Neshka did the artwork for my first book, Pieces of Humanity, and I just love her art so much that I have always wanted, I always think that like I receive information on many layers personally. So for me, when I did my first book, I had really wanted that to be accompanied by artwork, and it just wasn't possible. And so this book, my second book, it was like, Neshka, please do the art. She was like, yes, because she says yes to me all the time. So I'm very blessed. And so Shine was created. So I did at the start, I said to Neshka, do you want to do some art and I'll write to it? Because I'd had that experience with you, Fiona, which I found was really cool because it was getting me to write stuff that I might not normally kind of write. Mm-hmm. Neshka was like, no, you do the poems first and I'll do the art to that. So that's how we've done this one. But I think next time around we're going to play
we're going to play it around a little bit, yes.
Yeah. So so I was writing poems and sending them to Neshka, and then she was creating some beautiful artwork. And so yeah, we've ended up with a full colour art book of art and poetry. So yeah, every poem has beautiful art.
Looks brilliant.
Yeah, and it's in 3 sections. And the great thing, you probably can't see it so well on the camera, but the great thing is that each section is a different color because it's a journey. It's kind of follows the hero's journey of there being all these problems and things that make life hard for us, and then we have along the way we learn things, and we have like aha moments, which is sort of the second part of the book. And then the third part of the book is that enlightenment and that transformation, where you've come out the other side and you're different to how you were, and you've got another layer kind of thing. So yeah, so we go from kind of despair right through to hope and joy, so in the last section. So that's the
Magic.
book.
Excellent. And is it written from the point of view of one person, or a sort of generic type of person that it could apply to anybody?
Yeah, definitely could apply to anybody. Like there's lots of different poetry in there. So obviously some of it comes from my own lived experience, and I guess I am a big believer that there's not necessarily right and wrong, there's left and right, and we all have our own opinions and everything, which we feel that our opinion is right because from our own lived experience it proves, that's what proves the opinion. So I try and be a little bit more fluid in that I approach the world by saying I know nothing, and what will you teach me today, what will you gift me, what can I learn about your perspective. And I think the more that we can sort of say, oh, let's hear someone else's story and perspective, it just gives us another element to any problem within society or whatever. So there's lots of ways of looking at things. So that's kind of my art, my poetry. There's some political pieces in there, and then there's it visits all kinds of topics and issues within society, like trauma and domestic violence and all the stuff. People with disability and all that kind of stuff. So the poetry is written from lots of different challenges that we may kind of come across as human beings, and then it has my little spin.
and so the poetry in the book, will this be will that be included in your shows? Will you be reciting the poems that are in the book?
Yes. Yeah. So I've committed to memory 10 poems, which doesn't sound like a lot, but the thing is with me, I know that if I committed to memory too many poems, then I would create another problem for myself in that every show I'd be like, oh, which poem do I do? Which poem do I do? Because, each show is like really about a 20-minute set. So I just thought if I commit to memory 10 poems and know them really, really well, then it becomes about a performance and really being able to engage with the audiences, which is really important to me. So that's what I've done. A couple of the poems that I've committed to memory aren't actually from this book; they're for my next book, our next book. So the new pieces. So there's 8 poems from this book, and then there's 2 newies. And I'm actually just before I came over, I wrote another new poem, and Nesh was like, oh, you should learn that one as well. So we'll see. If I get time to learn that one, that might end up in a show somewhere as well.
Yeah. So we've got 8 from the book that people can buy now, and 2 teasers ready for your next book. Brilliant. Excellent. And are we allowed to know a little bit about the overall theme of your next book?
So my next book, I don't know, am I allowed to swear on your show?
Oh, depends what swear word it is, I guess.
Then effed up love poems, and I know that sounds really it probably sounds quite negative, but it's actually it visits love on all kinds of levels, and from all, there's mother's love in there, there's lover's love in there, there's bad love, there's good love, or however you want to look at it. So it's just, it explores the many facets of love. So
sounds wonderful, absolutely wonderful. So let's just talk about you a little bit, Neshka. Tell me a little bit about yourself, and where you're from, how you came into art, how you came to be illustrating Skylar's book as well, which is just amazing.
Thank you. I come from Poland, so my parents took me out of my country and brought me first to Germany for a year, then Australia. So I came to Australia, to Sydney, as a teenager. I really not enjoyable time for me. However, I did start studying visual arts at Sydney College of the Arts. However, I didn't pursue art. I ended up in IT, HR, training, working with special needs kids. At the end, I got a family, I've got kids, and art was always on a back shelf. It was never good enough. It was something that was sitting on the side. I would paint for my friends, for my family, for myself, but never did anything. And then this wonderful person shows up in my life and says, "Oh, I've seen your drawings. Can you do a cover for me?" And I did. And we really enjoyed the process. I mean, I loved Skylar's book. I read all of her first book, and it touched me. Her poetry is incredible. It's really inspiring, specifically for me. I think it was just an opener, and I said, yes, I can do this. And we worked so beautifully together that we just bounced off areas. The front cover for the first book had probably about 4 different versions, and it did not bother either of us that there were changes and adjustments. And when Skylar said, "Hey, I've got this wonderful idea, let's do this book together," I said, "Yeah, okay," not knowing how much work, how many hours.
Yeah, I don't think I called it a wonderful idea. I just said I have an idea.
I did, yes. I thought it was a wonderful idea. Not knowing about the amount of work it will require, because I've drawn about over 100 drawings, about 120, about 90 of them ended up in the book.
Wow.
But I enjoyed the process. I actually found that drawing for me was very cathartic. And yes, and I illustrated each poem, and I've got to say, some poems were so easy to illustrate. I related to them. I knew exactly what I wanted to draw. Other poems, we did a lot of collaboration. I would go and say, "Hey, having trouble with this one," and Skylar would read the poem for me, give me a few ideas. I would go and do a few different drawings of different symbolism or whatever. But other poems, Skylar knew exactly what she wanted me to draw as well, and I'm fine with that. So I would just produce a few different things, and she would chosen the one that appealed to her. There's a really good example. It's not the one on the screen, but there is a beautiful poem called "My Grandmother's Chest," which is about specific chests that Skylar has inherited from her grandmother. So I went and visited Skylar. I took a few photos of the chest, then I did a few drawings and sketches, and that ended up as the drawings for the poem, the actual chest that exists. Yeah.
So it has extra special meaning for that drawing as well, because it is the chest that inspired the poem. Brilliant. So now this is a poetry of painting show. So just before we move on to more on the poetry side, Neshka, it looks to me like you've used some dry media and some watercolor or something. So would you like to tell us a little bit about how you work and what materials you use? And
so I normally use acrylic and oil and a little bit of watercolor. I also use I'm across all the media. For this book, because I wanted to be true to the size. So every drawing is actually drawn 26 by 26. So when I was scanning them, they were exactly as they were on paper. We didn't want to do any graphic manipulation on them, just scan the photo. And now we sort of learn a lot of things, like I can actually draw smaller and enlarge them, and it will still be beautifully presented. But these are 26 by 26, and I did the sketch in a pencil and then colored pencils. I used polychromes because they're non-waxy, so they don't have that shine. Again, I was a bit worried that will come across when I scan them. So a lot of what I've used in the first book was guesswork, what will work. The backgrounds are then painted in a mixture of acrylics, which I use like watercolors. I know a lot of artists will frown upon that, but it's a
very valid way of working. So
exactly. So, I think the rules are there to be broken. And then I would touch it up again with the polychromos, just the pencils. Yes, I used some beautiful metallic paints as well, just to So the drawings are beautifully when they presented framed, and we've sold a few of them as well. So they're available to purchase, and some links as well. So beautifully framed by gorgeous framers for me. So we didn't spare expense on that either.
No.
Yeah.
Brilliant. And have you brought any of the original drawings with you on the tour?
Yes, we do have 9 of the original drawings and 3 drawings that are not in the book. That might be in the new book.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And are these going to be displayed and available for purchase by people at the shows?
Yeah. Yes, they definitely will be. I don't want to sell too many at the front, but people can put deposits on and then we'll send them before we leave UK. We also have printed some beautiful posters that have the picture with the words from the poem and our signature. They will be available at very good prices too.
Yeah.
Good.
And there'll
Good.
be, the posters are going to be limited editions as well. So we're just going to run limited editions of various posters, and over time, you know, as the editions sell out, then we'll choose another painting, drawing to do to create a poster with. So yeah, so that'll be ongoing. And yeah, we've got lots of other kind of really cool ideas, like decks of thoughtfulness cards and things like that we'll eventually want to do. But yeah, just for the UK, we've done our posters in the book, and yeah, and
Brilliant.
us in the flesh.
No,
they're not the same. Oh God, no.
Well, that's reassuring to know. No, we don't want to be into the human slavery element here. No.
Not even that at all.
But we can be hired.
Yes.
Yeah, we can be hired.
Yes. Absolutely.
For projects.
Yeah.
I feel like we're doing a bigger hole for ourselves. Yeah.
Oh, it's magic. I'm really looking forward to seeing more of your work as well, Neshka, and actually, as I say, seeing the book and being able to read the poetry, because I think for me as well, it's, you know, I've got some idea now of how you read your poetry, Skylar. So if I just read it, I can hear it almost the way you say it. So, and that makes such a difference as well, because you know, one person reading a poem and another, that it will come across as a totally different poem, I think, as well. So, you know, I like to be able to read them, you know, from the poetry on my shows. I love to be able to just read it as well afterwards, but I love hearing it spoken by the poet themselves, because you get a really different, you know, a different angle on it as well, from the inflections and the, you know, the emphasis on certain words. It makes such a difference, I think, doesn't it? So,
and I think especially with spoken word, because it's written to be spoken, and so that's one of the things I've found over time, people saying to me, like, there'd be poems that they read of mine that they didn't kind of get, but then when they heard me speak it was like, oh wow, like it really added, they could more understand how what was meant to be read. Sometimes put on the page, and I do try and put things on the page how they should be read, just to help people out that way, but you can't always do that just because of space, the amount of space you've got on a page and bleed areas and things like that. So sometimes I've had to create lines which, if you were to read it how it looks on the page, it kind of maybe doesn't land the way that I intend. And so one of the really very cool, well, I'm very excited about this. One of the very cool things that I've done in the book is that I've actually created voice recordings, and on one of the back pages I've created QR codes.
Oh, magic.
So there's 6 poems, and if you buy the book and you scan the QR code, it takes you to a hidden page on my website where you actually get to hear the voice recording of that poem. So
brilliant.
And over time, I'm hoping to possibly do that on some of the posters as well, for some of the poems that are on the website. So it just gives people another layer. And I think once you've heard me speak a couple of my poems, it probably helps you be able to read other poems as well, because like you say, you kind of have my voice in your head, and you kind of know how I say things. So so hopefully that'll be a bit of an added bonus for people. So
absolutely. I was wondering whether you'd thought about maybe I mean, it's old-fashioned now, you know, a CD or a DVD or something. You know, we don't have those anymore, do we? But it's just all online, you know. But whether you had thought of something like that, so that's really good. I shall look forward to being able to scan the QR codes in my book when I get hold of it.
Absolutely.
So
Yes.
no, I'm actually doing. There's a little group of artists that I'm a member of, and I am Artist of the Month for October. And so one of the things that I'll be doing, there'll be posts every day. And one of the things I was going to do is to have my painting and read my poem about it. So that will be a post. And so I've got to set myself recording those, which is be fun.
Yeah.
So,
you
know, it's, yeah.
That sounds amazing.
Whether to put the words on or not as well, I don't know. Or maybe I do the video with me reading it and then have the words in the comments so that people can see them afterwards. Maybe, I don't know. Haven't thought that one quite through yet, but that's the plan. So similar sort of thing, really, I guess, but not as I would like to point out, in the same league as your poetry, which is just amazing. So. I mean, you're a poet. I'm mainly an artist who's done a bit of poetry. So yeah, you know, you've got years of experience under your belt, and your style of poetry, I love it as well. It's very impactful, and it really touches you inside. So that's great. Lovely.
Thank you so much. As do your paintings, as you know, they touch me as well. So,
thank you.
And that's what I was going to ask you, because I know that you had a book coming out, and there's been a bit of a hold up with that. So we're still looking forward to getting your book. So,
I had an art fair last weekend, which took up the whole weekend, but it also took up quite a bit of time before that, preparing and making sure I'd got everything ready to go. So. I was only heard a couple of weeks before that the book, the publisher wouldn't be able to go ahead with it for personal reasons, which is, very sad. But, it's just a book. For her, I'm worried about her, for her health. But so now that the art fair's out of the way, I can start to get back down to finding a new publisher and get that back on track again. So it's exciting, but a little bit delayed. I had hoped to have had it ready for the art fair, but no, it wasn't to be. So, but in the grand scheme of things, it'll take its time. It'll be ready when it's ready, and it'll just be a little bit longer. That's all. So it'll get there. It'll get there.
Yeah. Well, we look forward to it, and and I'm sure there'll be another art show or art fair or something like that where you'll be able to show everyone beautiful work, because it was an amazing project, and I've been really looking forward to seeing it in the book form. So I'm still going to be looking forward to it.
And with your poetry in as well, of course.
Yes, there's some of mine in there. So
definitely there is. So So what other plans have you got after the tour? Or is the tour just taken up the whole of your brain for a while that you haven't been thinking about other things yet?
Yeah. Pretty much, so I've been because I have a day job, obviously, so I work full time. So pretty much have worked, and Neshka thankfully has been booking everything for the tour and sorting out all the details. So that's been wonderful. So pretty much finished work on the Friday before we left, and so I've only sort of had a few days to really think, oh my God, this is really happening, which is, very excited now. And then I guess we're just going to focus now that we're here, we're just focusing 100% on meeting all the beautiful people, having loads of fun. We're doing really ridiculous posts because we're so hopeless with technology. So we get on Instagram every day. Hopefully by the time we leave, we'll have nailed Instagram, and people will be seeing amazing posts from us. But at the moment, they're just a little bit ridiculous. So, but okay, we're just here to have fun and meet people, and and just enjoy, the fact that we can do this now. That the world has opened up, and we're back to being able to do. And then what comes next, we'll work that out when we get home.
And I know for the other poets that are watching the show, they will know what to expect. But for people that have never been to one of these shows before, what happens? What's the format when you're doing these shows? You say you've got a 20-minute slot, and so just talk us through what people might expect, and all the exciting things they can look forward to when they come and see your shows.
Yeah, well, I mean, look, I haven't really had a chance to speak very much with the event organisers, but basically most of the event organisers are people that were running poetry events probably in live before COVID, and then they took them online during COVID. So now a lot of them are back into their venues. So basically, most of them they are all like open mic events that happen monthly or weekly, some of them, or whatever. And so, and then the way that they do them is that, generally an artist, a poet, is asked to do a 20-minute feature set. So, most of the events that I'm doing, apart from a couple that are specifically set up for myself, and we've also got Jeff Cottrell joining us from Canada later on in the second 2 weeks of the tour. So most of them are like open mic nights where poets can turn up, anyone can turn up, and and there'll be an open mic segment so people can sign up and do poems of their own, and then there'll be a 20-minute segment where I'll give people some of my poetry and have some fun. And Neshka's going to project where possible. Neshka will be projecting her artwork up on a screen behind me, and
displaying. We're able to, so quite a lot of the organisers are very happy to do that. It's just adds another dimension to poetry. It's not always done, so it's a little bit new, but a little bit different.
Yeah, and then the other thing we're doing, we're running some workshops, which are just 3-hour workshops, and we were able to raise enough money that we can basically run 5 of these workshops while we're in the UK, up to 8 people, and it's just going to be a 3-hour experiential workshop where people can come along, and it'll all be free of charge, and they'll get a nice bag with a copy of our book and some beautiful pencils and everything, and we'll just run them through some fun activities, and they'll come out the other end with a piece of art and poetry of their own. So we're looking forward to running those as well.
Excellent. And what sort of places are you doing those?
So we've got one that's properly booked, that's happening in Derry in the Light Space. What's that called? I'll just have a look on the schedule. So that's called the Light. So that's at a venue called the Light Space in Pennyburn. And then we are hoping to do one in Swansea in Wales, but we haven't nailed down an actual venue yet. There's some discussion around that. And then one of the event organisers, Gary Huskerson, who's an amazing man. He's sorted out 3 or 4 of the events for us in Peterborough and Birmingham and places like that. So he's hoping to get a venue for us as well. So at the moment, I guess if anyone's watching and they think that having us along to, a community centre or a library or something, and they would like us to present, we'd be very happy. They can just contact us and we'll be there. We'll show up and we'll do it.
Excellent. Sounds exciting. Yeah. So we're getting towards the end of our time. But before I let you go, Neshka, would you like to just explain the artwork that we're seeing a little bit and how it relates to a poem, if that's not giving the game away, Skylar, if that's okay?
Go for it.
The poem that this artwork was drawn for is called The Gap, and it does talk about suicide and being on a brink. So in the book itself, you can only see the figure on the right. So what I've done with the artwork that was created for the book, I had to add things. So I added the other figure in this particular one, but the artworks have been enhanced or filled in. So where the words are, the second figure is in. So I chose this artwork to show because it captures not just the poem itself, but the fluidity of it. And a lot of my art has got a lot of movement in it. And that's the one I've chosen to show today.
Yeah.
Excellent. Yeah. And a beautiful one it is too. So I look forward to seeing more of them in the book, and hopefully in real life as well, the actual paintings with any luck. So magic. So Well, I wish you both all the very, very best with the tour. It sounds really exciting. I'm really hoping that I can get to at least one of the shows if I can, and be something new for me. I've not been to a poetry reading open mic session, anything like that before, so be good to experience it as well. So thank you so much, both of you, for your time and taking the time to come on and tell us all about your tour. And everybody, check out the comments and look back at my other posts if you need any more information, because Skylar's going to put some more links on those as well. And hope you managed to get to see one of the shows, everybody. So thank you all for watching. Thanks for your time, Skylar and Neshka. Been brilliant chatting with you, and see you very soon. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.